What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Lex Alexas. Today it is my championship review for match day 36. So officially after this game we've only got 10 more games left for every championship side this season. Now of course that's not quite the case because some teams do have games in hand, but theoretically we've only got 10 full game weeks left. So we are really starting to enter the crunch time of the championship season. If you guys want to see an updated standings of the Lex Alexas Football Prediction League, make sure you do check out the latest community post on the community tab because I post the latest standings. In the second half of the video I will be predicting the 6 midweek games taking place this week. Make sure you predict those games in the comments down below so you guys have a chance to enter into the Lex Alexas Football Prediction League for some points. But if you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Let's aim for 15 likes today. That'd be terrifically appreciative. Please hit that subscribe button if you're not done so, because now we're on the road to 1.1k subs. So if we can get there, that'd be absolutely amazing. And please share this channel to as many people as you can. All of that helps. But without any further ado, let's start talking through what happened in this weekend's games. So we'll start off with Huddersfield and Peterborough, where both of them theoretically couldn't be further away from what they're dealing with in this season so far. Huddersfield, you know, expected to be down there with the likes of Peterborough, but completely defying the odds. They are unbeaten in 16 games, and following this emphatic 3-0 win, they are now second place in the championship. Huddersfield Town are second place. This is not, you know, fabricated. This is actually happening. Now, they got their goals with a stunner from Sinani, and I tell you what, Peterborough looked like that they just about got away with it because Bender had to make 2 really good saves before Sinani had to literally curl one right in the top corner to make it 1-0. Their 2 other goals were very poor goals to concede. 2 goals from corners. Tom Lee's rising above everyone else. Free header. And Peterborough, once again, what really makes me a little bit nervous about them is the lack of chances they make and the clear-cut chances. They've had 10 shots, which actually seems a little bit more emphatic than they have been previously. They're having more chances away from home than they did in their home game against Hull. But once again, only 1 shot on target there, by far the least clinical team in this league. And that is why they're down there with a minus 45 goal difference now. It's very clear to see they're leaking too much and they're just not scoring enough. But with Huddersfield Town, second place of course, 62 points. They've got some crucial games coming up, including one against West Brom very soon. If they can somehow stay unbeaten for just that tiny bit longer, they can easily get top 6 or maybe even rival Bournemouth for top 2. You don't know. Another game that happened on the Friday was Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 1. A result that doesn't really do either team any favours. Both teams would have really preferred a win to really strengthen their chances in the top 6. But I guess on one team that would have really taken a draw, it would have been Nottingham Forest. Now, what I will say based on the pattern of the game, I think Nottingham Forest definitely at least deserved a point. They did fall behind to Billy Sharp. It was a very good header from Billy Sharp, an exquisite cross by Gibbs White that led to that goal. But Forest had countless penalty appeals. They even had a penalty themselves, which Brendan Johnson missed. West Foderingham settling 2 penalties in a row, by the way, which is absolutely unbelievable form from his part. But they would feel very aggrieved for the fact that they fell behind to Sheffield United, because I think they were the better team very narrowly. I think Sheffield United started getting more confidence when they scored their goal, but Nottingham Forest have that never say die attitude. And Ryan Yates, who scored a couple of late goals before, he scored an even later goal here. 95th minute equaliser, a header, which made it 1-1. This could be a very crucial equalising goal, because I think this keeps Nottingham Forest very strongly within the conversation of the top 6 with Sheffield United. It could be seen as a bit of a blow. They could look back at this game and have huge regrets for throwing the lead away like that. Early Saturday game, we saw Fulham beat Blackburn by 2-0. I mean, the golfing quality seemed a little bit much, you would say. But what we saw from this game was that Fulham were very comfortable and confident, and Blackburn, for what I expected away from home, just simply do not create enough away from home. At home, I do like what Blackburn do, but away from home, I do think they don't really set out to really get much from away games, which I don't think really helps their case. When you have to try and rely on Fulham to make passing errors or win interceptions off them, you're in trouble if you think you can sit back to Fulham and then you won't get carved open, because that's exactly what's happened. Cabano scored the first goal, poor from Kaminsky. It was a shot from Neco Williams, but he spills it, and then Cabano has a very easy tap in, which makes it 1-0. Really could have been avoidable there. It was 2-0 when Harry Wilson managed to score from a fantastic pass, actually. It literally cut through Blackburn's back line like butter, and brilliant composed finish for Wilson in the end. Blackburn did have a goal disallowed. I believe it was Bradley Johnson who originally got the goal, but he was offside. So Blackburn, unfortunately for them, didn't really get something, and we could have had an extraordinary goal. Neco Williams from about 30 yards out tries to dink the ball over Kaminsky, and it rattles off the crossbar. Blackburn, this is going to be their toughest game. I said in my prediction it was going to be their toughest game going to the end of the season. What's important now is that in their home game, they actually have some home wins, because there's only 1 win in 6 now for Blackburn. They're going to be very, very careful, otherwise teams below them will start catching up to them. There's something about Ashton Gate and Bristol City that Birmingham just always seem to enjoy. That is their 3rd consecutive victory at Ashton Gate. 2-1 victorious Birmingham City find themselves there. Now, the goals, was very, very special, and I was very, very happy to see Taif Chong. I thought, when I suggested he may go back, I was having a bit of hope within that, but the fact he did join and he scored within 2 minutes, you can see Birmingham really, really missed his quality, just even from just creating the goals. And in fact, this is his first senior goal, Taif Chong, actually, in English football, so it's a big moment for Taif Chong. And what I really, really liked was just the movement there. The movement with Bakuna, Hernandez, Taylor, they all play very, very well. And there was even a goal for Nico Gordon. Now, there was a flare thrown for when that corner was taken, what Nico Gordon scored from, but the flare didn't put him off at all. He headed the ball straight into the goal, which made it 2-0 to Birmingham. By that time, Bristol City had to really go and catch up, and that's really what they did in the second half. They did improve slightly in the second half for me, but I still think Birmingham may have slightly edged it based on the stats. But Alex Scott did score 1 goal for Bristol City. It was a nice move. I think defensively, I still have a bit of doubt for Birmingham, especially with the amount of injuries and the amount of players playing out of position. But going forward, I am really liking more for what I'm seeing from Birmingham. With Bristol City, though, once again, it's just a very typical inconsistent performance. Could this be the revival for Derby County? It looked pretty bleak for them at one stage. They were 8 points off Reading. Now it's back down to 5 points off Reading, with a 2-0 victory over relegation rivals Barnsley. And what a day it was for Ravel Morrison. He scores 2 goals. I mean, I think we've got to talk about that first goal. The build-up with Morrison, Lawrence and Plonge. Absolutely exquisite. I think the Twitter admin put it as liquid football, and I think that is the perfect description. It just flowed so well. The dummy that Ravel Morrison did, and then the finish, just dinking it over Collins there. It was just absolutely unbelievable play. And Ravel Morrison even had a chance to score the second one. Unlucky for Tom Lawrence, because he made most of that movement. His shot came off the woodwork, but then Ravel Morrison poked in the rebound. And Derby did hit the post twice. Barnsley did have a couple of chances. I think Bassi was the closest to scoring. He had 2 notable chances, but both just whisking wide of the goal. For me, Barnsley just weren't that same side. They didn't offer enough intensity. They seemed a little bit rattled for the fact that Derby really fought for every second ball. And you've got to say, man for man, Derby definitely deserved it, and Wayne Rooney has done very, very well with that club. It reunites a little chance for Derby. They still got to stay consistent at home. Barnsley, they've got to be very careful now. They can't afford to drop too many games like this. And then we finally see West Brom's first win under Steve Bruce with a 2-0 away victory over Hull City. He gets revenge against his former managed club. Now, what I did see in that game is Hull definitely created more, but they were so wasteful. They caught West Brom's virus of being incredibly wasteful with their opportunities. West Brom definitely had less shots. In fact, they had half the shots that what Hull had, but they had double the amount of shots of target compared to Hull. So they definitely were a lot more clinical. They worked on it. And Carla Grant is finally back on the score sheet for what seems like an eternity. He scored a very, very nice first goal, actually. Terrific build-up leading for that. Second goal was a penalty. I mean, it was an absolute howler by Greaves. I mean, he made the first mistake, recovered, and then he actually dragged down, I think it was Garner Higgins, to that penalty, and then Colin Grant scored it to make it 2-0. Would this be the revival of West Brom? For me, they have to pull off a major miracle to get into the top 6, but if they would try and get top 8, maybe that could be their standards now, but they'll definitely have a very disappointing feel to the end of the season. As with Hull, once again, I think they're safe from the drop, but obviously, you know, can't be too complacent because you don't know what it's like. You know, if in terms of the bottom 5 teams, if they put on the run together, they could definitely suck Hull into it. So still got to be a little bit aware. And then we have a crucial win for Middlesbrough in the battle of the top 6 as they beat Luton by 2-1 to replace Luton in the top 6. Now, this was a very close game, I felt. It was very, very evenly matched. Both teams had very equal amounts of chances there. Both looked around the same, you know, going forward. You know, both would definitely back themselves to create some chances. But what Middlesbrough did well is that they took those chances. They got the breakthrough with the penalty, and I think that really helped. You know, that early penalty goal definitely set the tone, and it was going to be very difficult for Luton to try and get back into this. They would have had to pull off a miracle. Paddy McNair scored it, and on the penalty decision itself, I'm not too sure, but they did obstruct Balogun, so potentially it would have been a penalty in those circumstances. It was definitely game over, we felt, when Duncan Watmore made it 2-0 near the end of the game as Luton were trying to overcommit and put men forward. Now, I do think the goalkeeper should do better there. I think Alex Palmer in goal definitely should have got down to his right a lot quicker there. Luton do get one back, and I got to say, Joe Lumley put in a great performance in Middlesbrough's goal. He was finally beaten and was quite unlucky not to get his clean sheet, but Harry Cornick in the 96th minute makes it 2-1, but nevertheless, it's not enough. And Luton do fall down to 8th, but nevertheless, it was actually quite a good performance by Luton despite losing to Middlesbrough there. It was two pretty good teams going up against each other, and one team just showed the edge in terms of being clinical and having the decision go their way, which was their penalty. So, good win for Middlesbrough. Luton will need to try and bounce back. What a result we saw at Deepdale. Preston 2, Bournemouth 1. I mean, this is Bournemouth's bogey team for sure. They hate playing Preston. They've not beaten Preston in 10 years in a league game, and it showed in this game here. I mean, I don't know how, but even when Bournemouth didn't score their first goal, I felt Preston were better. Obviously, didn't have as much of a ball as what Bournemouth did, but creating chances, Preston were miles better. They created chances based on Bournemouth's mistakes, and that was definitely frustrating Scott Parker, which ended him up getting sent off in the end of the game. Now, what we saw here is that Jamal Lowe got the lead in the second half. He finally got a breakthrough. It was actually a good bit of play, actually. You know, looping the ball over the back line and then Jamal Lowe making the timed run perfectly to make it 1-0. But Cameron Archer makes it 1-1 within 4 minutes later, so poor game management to only lead by 4 minutes. We also see a moment where Nat Phillips is denied by a heroic diving save by Daniel Iverson. Honestly, how he pulled off that save, I have no idea. It's up there for save of the season for me. And then literally within minutes after that, Emil Reece-Jacobson, Preston on the break, very dangerous, and Jacobson with a cool hard finish in the bottom right corner makes it 2-1. It's a fantastic performance by Preston. I think they've definitely revolutionised with Ryan Lowe, and they're definitely playing with a lot more positivity and confidence with Bournemouth. Things are just getting so frustrating. Tommy Smith was sent off, Scott Parker was sent off. Definitely a disciplinary problem as well, so Bournemouth got to be very careful. The pressure's going to be on them because Huddersfield have now taken that pressure. They've overtaken Bournemouth. Now Bournemouth, with those games in hand, they've got to do catch-up over Huddersfield. So it's going to be a very interesting as Bournemouth deal with a different type of pressure. Could we see another bit of pressure starting to buckle with a top 6 team as QPR lose again? This time to Cardiff by 2-1. It's 4 defeats and 6 for QPR. Only 1 win in those 6 games too. Cardiff have really improved their form. 3 wins now in their last 6, and this is back-to-back wins as well. They don't achieve back-to-back wins much, Cardiff, but they definitely have improved their form for the fact they have now managed to have 2 wins in a row. Now, it did seem like things were going swimmingly well. Andre Gray scores for QPR to make it 1-0. We were thinking, okay, QPR, you know, with the early-ish goal, you know, just before half-time. But Cardiff completely turned it around. Isaac Davies scores the equaliser to make it 1-1, and Ruben Cole with a brilliant free kick makes it 2-1 to Cardiff. It's disappointing for QPR. They threw the lead away so quickly, and the fact of the matter is those 2 goals for Cardiff came in the space of 4 minutes. Very similarly to Bournemouth, where is the game management to stop these teams actually taking advantage of the situation? You know, it's almost getting beaten down by one thing, or almost being too complacent by something going your way. You've got to be switched on constantly, because these teams are going to be going for your blood. Even if they get a sniff on goal, they'll take it. So it's poor for QPR's part. Brilliant work for Cardiff. Only 28% of the ball, and they still beat QPR. They still have more shots on target than QPR as well. So QPR, going forward, they've been very, very non-clinical so far. So definitely some things to work on, but Cardiff will be definitely rejoicing this win. A crucial defeat in the bottom part of the table is that Millwall managed to beat Reading by 1-0. It is back-to-back defeats for Paul Ince's Reading side now. They still stay on 21st and are only 5 points clear of Derby, although they do have a game in hand, which can be an advantage for them. The only goal in the end came from Jake Cooper. I mean, it's poor defending from a corner, and I already talked about poor defending from corners before for Peterborough. If Reading aren't able to do the basics right and to man mark some players and only go for zonal marking in corners, then it's just laziness from players. You need to man mark everyone and jump that extra inch higher, jump, you know, inhumanly possible to get the ball away. But the Reading players didn't look like they tried, and Jake Cooper, you know, used his physicality to his advantage, and he got the header goal to make it 1-0. And I tell you what, it's a really, really, you know, poor defeat for Reading, because I actually felt Reading did quite well. They actually created chances. They had more chances than Millwall. They had more shots on target than Millwall as well. You know, Bill Kowski definitely had a good day in goal, but it's looking like to me that Reading are still not quite the finished article yet. There's still some promising things there, but defensively is really what's going to relegate them if they're not careful. As with Millwall, it's 5 wins in a row, and they can really have a late surge for top 6 if they carry this good winning streak going. Penultimate game sees Stoke lose again, this time to Blackpool by 1-0. I remember the reverse fixture, and it was a very similar game to this. Stoke score a very late goal, and they hold on for a 1-0 away win. But lo and behold, literally within a good number of months later, Blackpool do what Stoke did to them in the first meeting they had this season. Stoke, I just can't sum up what's gone on with them. They have lost 3 games in a row. They're winless in 5 now. And if they're not careful, they're really going to be stuck in a really mediocre position in the table. Blackpool continue to try and grind out results. It's back-to-back wins for them now after looking like that they were going through a winless streak. So it's good for Blackpool that they got that. It was Josh Bowler who was 23 years old and actually had his birthday on the day he scored that goal as well. 86th minute. It was fantastic play actually, and brilliant intelligent play by Yates to put that back heel for Josh Bowler, and that made it 1-0. And I tell you what, in terms of chances, I think definitely Blackpool earned it. I know Stoke did hit the post, but in creating chances going forward, I do think Blackpool was slightly better. It was definitely a very close game, but when you looked at the quality of chances, I think Blackpool were better. So for me, I think they slightly edged it. It was definitely going to be one goal was going to settle the winner, and it was Blackpool that got it. So brilliant stuff from Blackpool, but Stoke, it's clear to me that they need to fix something at the moment. Final game to go over is Swansea 3, Coventry 1. I mean, Coventry got some crucial games going up. They have got Sheffield United and Luton. If they don't pick up 4 points in those games for me, I think they still have a chance. But anything less, I think it is curtains for their chances of getting into the top 6 for me. And this was like a game that they needed to win to really try and still enter the competition there. It was a great performance by Swansea, don't get me wrong. Jamie Patterson with the first goal. But the plaudits go to Michael Obafemi. He was involved in all 3 goals. I mean, he scored the last 2, of course. And brilliant stuff, actually, from Matt Grimes and Flint Downs, who both got the assists for both of Obafemi's goals. Putting a perfect through ball. Obafemi bursting forward with pace, beating the back line and getting past Simon Moore to make it 3-0 at the time. Coventry, going forward, they actually created chances, and that's the frustrating thing. Coventry created still, but going forward, they really did not look threatening at all. Fisher did have a good performance, don't get me wrong, but Gyökeres, Waghorn, all these strikers that they had on the pitch just simply did not turn up today. And even when Godden went on, you know, he had a tiny little bit of effect, but even he couldn't score like one of the chances that Coventry had, which was so easy for any striker to score. But it's Gustavo Hamer that managed to make it 3-1, who actually scored like a really good shot from just outside the box. It's a good win for Swansea. They actually climb up to 16th, and they've got a lot of games in hand, you know, bear in mind. Their home form has definitely improved, and I think that's a really good thing for Swansea to have some confidence in their home games. Coventry, as I said, next 2 games really could decide their season. So guys, that wraps up my review of this weekend's games. This is what the championship table looks like after matchday 36. Fulham first, but now we have a new team in second. Huddersfield are now second place. Wow. Bournemouth fall down to third. Blackburn, QPR and Middlesbrough return to the top 6 in 6th. With the bottom 4, we still have Reading, but only 5 points ahead now of Derby. Barnsley on 23 and Peterborough last place with a -45 goal difference. So finally, to end off the video, I'm going to predict all of the midweek games. We'll start off with Barnsley and Stoke. This is interesting because Barnsley at home have improved. Stoke's form has just been completely off a cliff. And you know what? It actually wouldn't surprise me if Barnsley really shocked the world and get a result here. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Barnsley win. I could be wrong on that, but sometimes you've got to predict the unpredictable. Blackburn and Millwall. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. I think this one will be drawing a blank in this one. Bournemouth and Peterborough. 2-1 Bournemouth, I think they'll just squeak through this one. Coventry and Luton Town is interesting. Obviously, Luton had a lot of fun against Coventry last time. Coventry would not want a repeat of that. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, I think. I can't separate the two teams. Sheffield United and Middlesbrough, once again, so difficult to predict. I might edge Sheffield United though. I think Middlesbrough have played better for them, but I think Sheffield United at home are going for an unbeaten run, and I think Middlesbrough away from home are not that great. I'm going to go for a 2-1 home victory to Sheffield United. Swansea Fulham. Ooh, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think it's going to be an entertaining game between these two sides. But that's all the predictions done. If you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Please do hit that subscribe button as we're trying to grow this channel. That'd be unbelievably appreciative. And please share this channel to as many people as you can. All of that really helps. But now I'm up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.